I didn't even have time to set down my glass before the burn hit. Sharp, public, and intentional. Wow, look at everyone showing up for Lily, my sister Madison said loudly, raising her champagne. Some people are just lucky. Others, her eyes slid to me. Well, let's just say not every bride gets a crowd. A few relatives chuckled. My jaw clenched so tight I felt a tremor run through my cheek, but I kept my smile small and steady. If they thought that was going to break me, they truly had no idea who they were talking to. Because while they clinked glasses and whispered about how small and quiet my upcoming wedding would be, I had spent the last 6 months planning something they couldn't even imagine. Something that would make tonight's ballroom, packed with gold decor and overenthusiastic cousins, look like a backyard barbecue. But I didn't let that show. I just sipped my drink like her words rolled right off me. Truth was, my life had never been the one they bragged about. Madison was the golden child, daughter with a pristine job, perfect fiancé, flawless record of being the family's superstar. I was always the one they tossed little digs at. She works too much. She doesn't socialize. She'll never pull a big wedding together on her own. But they didn't know the biggest detail of all. My fiancé, Carter Hayes, was the founder of an oceanfront resort chain. He wasn't flashy and didn't flaunt it, so my family assumed he was some regular guy who probably drives an old sedan. They would learn, and I would enjoy every second of that learning process. The music shifted and Lily, the beloved, always praised cousin, floated past in her wedding gown, glowing. I smiled genuinely at her. It wasn't her fault that our family's hobby was comparing everyone like they were entries on a scoreboard. "Haley," Lily said softly, pulling me aside. "Ignore Madison. She's just jealous your ceremony is next week." "I'm good," I told her. "Really? But inside?" My chest was a tight knot, not from sadness, but anticipation. Madison drifted by again, leaning into a group of ants. "I mean, what's the point of sending invitations if no one's going to show up?" She laughed. The knot inside me snapped. I turned slightly, my voice calm. "You'd be surprised who shows up for me." She blinked, taken aback by how steady I sounded. "Sure, Haley," she said mockingly. "Keep dreaming." An older uncle chuckled. "Don't make it too fancy, kiddo. You might overwhelm yourself." "Overwhelm myself?" Oh, if only they knew. But I didn't fire back. I didn't have to. Their own assumptions were going to detonate right under their feet soon enough. The night dragged the way family events do when you're the designated target. Every conversation felt like a test. Every laugh seemed a little too pointed. Every side glance at me carried this smug expectation that I would crumble. But instead, I floated through it, quiet, patient, almost serene, because I knew the clock was ticking towards something they couldn't possibly picture. Near the end of the reception, as guests prepared to leave, I stepped outside for some air. The hotel lights shimmered on the pavement, warm and golden. My phone buzzed. "Carter, everything is set for tomorrow. You sure you're ready for this?" A grin spread across my face. "Me? More than ready. Carter, I'll pick you up at noon. You won't walk into that ceremony alone." My heart softened, not because of the message, but because of him. He was the only person who had never treated me as less. He didn't care that I didn't have a brag-worthy job or a massive social circle. He loved me, supported me, and gave me space to become someone stronger. Tomorrow would be our rehearsal ceremony at the coastal venue, an event small enough to not trigger any family pressure, but large enough for the staff to test everything. Everything. Including the parking staging. Including the live stream system. Including the helicopter pad. I caught my reflection in the window. My eyes weren't sad. They were focused. Laser sharp. This wasn't revenge out of spite or pettiness. This was reclaiming something they had spent years stomping on. My worth. The next afternoon arrived faster than expected. Ocean air whipped my hair as I stepped out of the SUV, the waves crashing against the rocks beside the ceremony platform. Staff members scurried around, checking lights, cables, and cameras. "Ms. Brooks." A woman in a headset approached. "The live stream team wants to confirm your timeline." "Absolutely," I said, taking the clipboard and flipping through. This wasn't some small backyard event like they assumed. This was a full-scale, professionally filmed, internationally streamed wedding. Because when Carter proposed, he told me, "If I'm marrying the woman I waited for my whole life, the world is welcome to watch." I told him it wasn't necessary. He said, "It's not necessary. It's what you deserve." That single sentence rewired something inside me forever.
And now?
Now I was going to walk down a glass aisle suspended over the water, surrounded by an ocean horizon and 1,000 soft lights. The staff walked me down the platform to the spot where the aisle began. The view stretched endlessly, blue waves shimmering under the afternoon sun. "You okay?" one of the coordinators asked. "More than okay," I said. Then I saw it, cars beginning to line up on the cliffside road. Not 5, not 10, dozens. Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. A line of luxury vehicles so long it wrapped around the hill like a jeweled ribbon. The coordinator whispered, "Wow, they all came early." All of them, Carter's business partners, influencers who adored the resort brand, local VIPs he had helped over the years, and event sponsors who wanted to support him. And they were here for us. My throat tightened, not out of pain, but out of everything opposite. Madison had mocked me in front of everyone. But by sundown tomorrow, she'd see over 300 luxury cars filling the coastline. And when the live stream went live to 2.5 million viewers, she'd realize the thing she underestimated most.
Me.
By the time the sun dipped into the waterline, the cliffside road looked like a luxury car convention. I stood at the balcony of the venue, clutching the railing as headlights stretched into the distance, silky streaks of silver, gold, and obsidian. Carter stepped beside me, sliding his arm around my waist. "Still think no one's going to show up for you?" he teased softly. I let out a quiet breath that trembled a little. If Madison could see this now. "Oh, she will," he said. "Trust me." We hadn't sent my family the rehearsal details, only the actual wedding day schedule. But I knew how my family worked. They loved gossip. Too much. Someone would leak a picture before the night ended, and tomorrow would be chaos in the group chat. "Timeline ready?" Carter asked. "Almost. Livestream team wants a sound check in 10. "You're doing amazing," he told me, kissing my temple before heading off. I watched him go, that steady confidence in his stride. People often mistook him for quiet or simple because he didn't brag, but he was a powerhouse, built his business from the ground up, treated people right, and never let money change who he was. The type of man my family had no idea existed. A coordinator hurried toward me. "Ms. Brooks, the drone crew is in position. They'll capture the entire drive-up line." A slow smile spread across my face. Perfect. I made my way down the glass aisle, my dress fluttering behind me, when my phone buzzed violently in my hand. I checked the screen. "Madison, why are people posting pictures of a luxury car line outside some beach venue? Is that you?" "Haley, answer me." I didn't. I slid my phone into my clutch and kept walking. Because tonight wasn't about proving her wrong, it was about proving myself right. As the rehearsal began, the soft glow of golden lights illuminated the platform. The waves shimmered underneath us, gentle but powerful. Every vendor moved with precision. Every detail was flawless. The photographer approached me mid-walk. "Haley, look left. Yes, perfect. You're natural." I wasn't. I just felt free. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't shrinking to fit inside someone's low expectations. Halfway through rehearsal, one of Carter's business partners approached me, an older woman named Rebecca in stylish reading glasses. "Haley, I just wanted to say, Carter's never looked as happy as he is planning this wedding with you. He talks about you like you put the stars in his sky." My throat tightened. "Thank you. That means more than you know." "He chose right," she added. "And you? You're going to walk into that ceremony tomorrow with the entire coastline cheering for you." I laughed lightly. "I hope it's not too much." She shook her head. "Honey, this is what happens when you treat people well. They show up." Behind her, more cars rolled in, their headlights sweeping across the ocean like moving constellations. This was really happening. Later, after rehearsal ended, Carter and I walked down to the shoreline. The moonlight cast silver ripples across the water. My shoes dangled from my fingers. I let the waves lap at my toes. Carter looked at me with that soft seriousness he reserved only for quiet moments. Tomorrow, we're starting our life together. I don't care who shows up. I only care that you're the one waiting for me at the end of that aisle. I'll be there, I whispered. And I'll be the luckiest man alive. We stood there, waves brushing our ankles, luxury cars glowing behind us, my phone buzzing nonstop in my clutch, but I didn't reach for it. Madison could wait. Tomorrow, she'd see everything. And she'd finally understand. I wasn't the quiet sister. I was the underestimated one. And I had just rewritten the ending. The next morning, the group chat was already exploding before I even opened my eyes. Missed calls. 27 messages. 3 voicemails. All from Madison. I didn't bother listening. I just set my phone face down on the counter and let the makeup artist start her work. You're glowing already, she said as she brushed soft shimmer along my cheekbones. That's because today's the day, I replied. Outside my suite window, I could hear the engines of arriving cars, smooth, expensive hums layered over the sound of waves. The parking coordinators whistled and directed drivers, and every now and then someone shouted, "Another McLaren," or "2 Bentleys incoming." By noon, the coastline was filled again, hundreds of luxury vehicles sparkling under the sun. And then came the messages from relatives. Not insults, not snide comments, but disbelief. Aunt Maria. Haley, what is this? Uncle Dan. This venue is insane. Cousin Jenna. Are we supposed to be here? Is this real? Finally, one from Madison. Madison, why didn't you tell us it was this big? I didn't answer. Not because I wanted to be petty, but because the woman they used to talk down to didn't owe them explanations anymore. The coordinator stepped inside. Ms. Brooks, we're ready for your entrance. My heart thudded once hard. This was it. I stepped into the hallway, my gown flowing behind me like soft cloud layers. Carter waited at the end of the glass aisle with his back turned, hands folded, chest rising steadily. When he finally turned to me, his expression melted into something warm and speechless. His eyes glistened, just for a second. You look, he exhaled. Haley, you look unbelievable. Before I could respond, gasps rippled from the seated guests. A low hum rolled through the crowd. Admiration, not judgment. Cameras clicked softly. The ocean breeze lifted my veil. The live stream counter on the large screen beside the platform jumped rapidly. 200,000 viewers. 900,000 viewers. 1.8 million. 2.1 million. 2.4 million. Every guest murmured, stunned. Somewhere in the crowd, I spotted Madison. She was frozen in her seat, lips parted slightly, eyes wide like she was seeing me for the first time in her life. Our gazes locked for half a second. But instead of looking away, I lifted my chin, not out of arrogance, but out of the quiet strength I had earned. She swallowed hard. Her expression flickered, confusion, envy, maybe something like regret. As I reached Carter, he held out his hand. You ready? He whispered. More than ready. The officiant smiled. Let's make this moment beautiful. And with those words, the ocean breeze, golden sunlight, and the soft rustle of my gown all felt like pieces of a story finally coming together. Madison's voice, once so sharp, finally faded into the background, replaced by applause, cameras, and the undeniable truth. This was my moment, and everyone was here to see it. The ceremony unfolded like something pulled straight from a dream, soft music drifting over the water, sunlight scattering across the glass aisle, and gentle waves echoing beneath our feet. I barely processed the words being spoken. All I could feel was Carter's steady hand wrapped around mine. When the officiant announced, "You may seal your vase," Carter leaned in, touching his forehead to mine first, just a second of quiet grounding, before kissing me softly. The guests erupted in applause. Camera shutters clicked like rainfall. The live stream counterflashed. 2.5 million viewers watching live. That number alone could have knocked the breath out of me. The girl my family used to tease for being forgettable had just had one of the most watched weddings on the internet that day. As we walked back down the aisle, hand in hand, petals floating in the wind, people cheered. Some I knew, some I didn't. But every face glowed with genuine happiness. Except one. Madison stood near the side railing, hands clasped tightly, her expression unreadable. When her eyes finally met mine, she stepped forward hesitantly. "Haley," her voice was softer than I'd ever heard it. I didn't know it was going to be like this." I kept my posture straight. "You never asked," she swallowed, glancing at the coastline filled with luxury cars, the massive production, the elegant details. I was wrong. About everything. I shouldn't have said what I said at Lily's dinner. A part of me wanted to keep walking, to let the past stay where it belonged. But another part, the one shaped by Carter's kindness, knew the weight of carrying grudges. "You hurt me," I said simply. "More times than you probably realize." Madison nodded, eyes dropping. "I know, and I'm sorry, honestly." I studied her for a moment. Her voice wasn't defensive. It wasn't sarcastic. It was real. "Thank you," I said finally. "I accept that." Relief loosened her shoulders. She stepped back as Carter squeezed my hand gently and leaned in to whisper, "You handled that perfectly." The reception that followed was alive. String lights swaying above the deck, guests laughing, music playing, the ocean glowing under the moon. Carter spun me around during our first dance, lifting me slightly off the ground as the crowd cheered. "You happy?" he whispered. I smiled up at him, more than I ever imagined. Later, we stepped onto the private overlook above the water. The night air wrapped around us as hundreds of headlights shimmered like stars scattered across the cliffside. "This is all for you," Carter said. "For us," I corrected. "For us," he repeated with a grin. My phone vibrated once more, this time with a single message from Madison. "I'm proud of you. Truly." I slipped the phone away. The message mattered, but it wasn't what defined me. This moment did. This piece did. This love did. As Carter pulled me into his arms, the wind brushing my veil, I realized something. Revenge hadn't been the luxury cars, or the views, or the audience. Revenge was becoming the version of myself they never believed I could be. A version who didn't need anyone's approval, only her own. And with that, my story didn't just end beautifully. It finally began.